Disclaimer, the comments made in this video are intended for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to offend anyone.
It's not totally limitless. When you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation around International Women's Day and make it about this.
But if anyone,
there's so many benefits.
Right, but if anyone, according to you, can identify as a woman,
I don't see a problem with.
Just literally put their hand up and say I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into
Actually,
the world.
it's incredibly
very easy. You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say
what
this
does
is
doing
who,
it involve?
Whatever that person decides, but to
Does
go
it
out
involve
into
wearing
the world
makeup?
and say I don't identify as perhaps the sex I
So
was
why
born
can't
as.
why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, you're
I'm serious. I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I on International Women's Day say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd
I think that's what.
about quite a
with
strong
respect, I think that
change.
you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
I mean, this point kind of ridicules trans people.
They spoke up and instantly wished they hadn't. Let's watch the woke get wrecked, one bad take at a time.
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of.
And just like that, the argument vanished into thin air. Silence speaks louder than protest signs.
Attitude.
No.
That what is perceived as a good leader.
No,
And
that's not
what
what
the
you have the
issue
problem.
is.
Most people who are successful in their given field aren't corrupt. It's very difficult to become successful and be corrupt.
So
I know
making
people
that
like to think
section,
that, but it's just not
corruption
true.
is good. It's acceptable.
Percent of the population is psychopathic. And it never really goes above that. And the reason that it never goes above that is because being psychopathic is not a very good strategy. People in power are corrupt by definition, especially if they've built up their stature and influence as a consequence of competence, is simply wrong. And so you do want people who've demonstrated high levels of competence in at least one other field to serve as potential political candidates. What else would you use as a criteria for their ability?
When you bring a woke knife to a logic gunfight, Jordan Peterson dismantles their arguments with surgical precision.
You know, this hardwired brain stuff, like it's retro.
So Milo Yiannopoulos, does it matter men and women are wired differently, have different skills?
No, it doesn't matter in the sense that they are equal but different, but it simply isn't true to say that there is no difference whatsoever between the aptitudes of men and women. And it is, without question, true that there are some biological differences between men and women, and we know that from our anatomy. But we also know it from experiments that we do on young children before they've had the opportunity to be socialized, the sorts of toys that they go for. And that holds true actually for other bits of the animal kingdom as well. Some of the reason why girls drop out of STEM subjects at college and chess clubs is because they keep losing. And one of the reasons they keep losing is that it does seem to be the case that chess as a game plays to some of the male intellectual virtues. And when Simon Baron-Cohen talks about these, the way he describes it is men are good at systematizing and women are good at empathizing. And there is some reason to suppose that that may have some basis in biology.
When you challenge basic biology with woke ideology, prepare for a reality check.
Another tweet that said the Democratic Party is comprised of racist white liberals.
That is correct.
Am I a racist white liberal?
Well, let's go back. I will say this, that many people in the party are not aware of their own racism. Let's go back to an early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned about the color in the White House? Why would you ask me that question?
Because you speak about black issues.
No, but why would you ask me? But let's get to really the nucleus of this. Why did you ask me that question today?
Because you're bringing a whole group of young African American leaders to the White House.
Okay, so this is something that I talk about often, is that in many ways, what liberals don't realize that you put on that, the racism and the conversations that we have.
So you're saying I'm a racist?
You haven't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off.
Go ahead.
Okay? The emphasis that you place is always on having a discussion about race. Okay? You guys are insistent on having a conversation about race and telling us that we should see, if you don't look at me according to the color of my skin, you would simply ask me how I thought that Trump was doing as a president. You try to drum up a conversation that's surrounded by race by asking me, are there enough black people in the White House?
You're bringing a whole group of young black leaders to the White House.
Color,
so clearly
I don't.
That's something that's important to you.
But why are you talking about?
Then why make it that you're going to bring young black leaders to the White House? I mean, this is sort of absurd.
Because the media, as in the whole.
This is absurd. You're bringing this group to the White House.
It's not absurd.
Just to be clear.
I'm trying to be extremely clear with you.
I know. But you view me as a racist white
I think
liberal.
that you're not. First off, you put those words in my mouth and you keep saying it. So I said that the Democrat Party is comprised of racist white liberals. Is every person in the party racist? No, but put these racist tones out into the media. This is why we have to bring the black conservatives to the president, because you create a narrative when you're on TV like you did today.
I have questions for you as well, but we actually have to get out of the segment now.
Do you think that language is helpful, though? I mean, just in terms of the national conversation.
I could ask you, do you think it's helpful to ask me, just because I'm a black woman, if I'm comfortable with the amount of color that's on the administration? Do you think that that's helpful?
I think it's helpful and introspective.
It's not. It's you just trying to create an undertone that Donald Trump is racist, and it's wrong.
No. But I just want to say, I just want to say,
you're looking at me on the basis of my skin color, and make a bunch of reduction. I did not. You said that, and we can run the tape back. You said that.
Here's what I want to say.
You quoted it, but you were not added in that tweet, so do not say that I called you that, because that's dishonest, and we are on TV, so you can run. Okay, so I did not call you a racist. You're using the typical leftist tactic of trying to make yourself a victim, which is not what I.
The media tried to push a narrative, but the truth had other plans. The woke agenda unraveled live.
To me, it's almost like reverting back to the civil rights movement. Now we're telling fat folks that they have to buy an extra seat. Not too long ago, my grandparents had to sit on the back of a bus.
She's going to equate civil rights, fat rights, folks. Okay, let's see where this one goes.
It's almost like segregating folks based on the way they look.
I can't imagine. Did you really say that?
She thought she had the high ground, but reality had other plans.
Point somebody's truth has to win, because guess what? Your truth doesn't matter. That's still a truth
You've
claim.
had your truth in this country for the past thousands of decades.
Thousands of decades.
Not thousands. Whatever. That's a little embarrassing. But like your truth has been the narrative of this country forever. And you think
Roe versus Wade just got repealed. Abortion was legal in this country for 40 years.
And before the 40 years, what was? And crime dropped.
Thankfully,
40% after it went.
On top of that, oh wait, hold on. Do you think abortion lowers crime rates?
Crime dropped 40% after abortion became legal.
Why is that the case?
It's called a statistic.
Who has the most abortions in America?
Women.
Black people. Is that so? Are you trying to say the termination of blacks in the womb lower crime? That's a very racist argument.
That is not a racist.
You know, I can't hear you. Gotta come on.
There has to be
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I'm with you on everything.
When your own stats turn against you, maybe it's time to double check the facts before the debate.
What happens in California if you murder a pregnant woman? What do you get charged with if you murder a pregnant woman in California?
I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
It's called a double homicide. That baby's still in the stomach, so wouldn't abortion be murder at that point?
I don't even know what you're talking about, honestly, man. I think you're just throwing out stuff and...
He dropped logic like a mic, and all that followed was awkward silence.
It's not totally limitless. When you're talking about International Women's Day, I don't know why we take the conversation around International Women's Day and make it about this.
But if anyone,
there's so many benefits.
Right, but if anyone, according to you, can identify as a woman,
I don't see a problem with.
Just literally put their hand up and say I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into the world.
It's very easy.
You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say
what
this
does
is
doing
who,
it involve?
Whatever that person decides, but to go out into the world and say I don't identify as perhaps the sex I was born as.
Why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was.
I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I on International Women's Day say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd
I think that's what.
About quite a
with respect, I think that you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
I mean, this point kind of ridicules trans people to an extent.
When logic enters the room, the argument quietly exits.
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of.
When definitions get wobbly, even simple questions turn into trapdoors.
If you could eliminate one thing from the word, what would you eliminate?
Narcissists.
Toxic feminism.
Guess he's all about that selective cleanup.
What is a woman?
That's a stupid question, dude. That's a dumb
It can't answer what a woman is. It's not a trick question. What is a woman?
Who identifies as a woman?
What is that thing? You can't answer the question with the question. Define woman without saying woman. What is a woman? This is not a trick question, everybody. You're in college paying for an education. What is a woman?
How about you tell someone with media training?
You don't need media training. It's not a trick. What is a woman? You can't answer the question with the. It's like the college kids of America going hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt who think it's a trick question when you ask them what a woman is.
If a simple question leaves you speechless, perhaps it's time to reconsider the strength of your argument.
Can you identify as a black person?
No,
Why?
because I'm not black.
I'm not a woman, but I can identify as a woman according to you.
If you transition, maybe.
What defines a transition?
If that's your goal,
If you believe it.
Sure.
If you believe you're black, why aren't you black?
Well, that's just not, that's like genetics. That's like ancestry.
You're also born a man or a woman. It's the same thing. That's also genetics.
Okay, I'm over it.
That conversation just hit a whole new level of wait, what?
Am I a feminist? Yes, because it took feminism to get us to the point where we are now.
Do you realize how different the job availability was 100 years ago?
But that doesn't excuse
do you realize
the
that?
fact that
But
women and men got paid differently for doing the same job for the same hour.
But here's the thing, equal pay, feminism can really only exist when there are comfortable air-conditioned office jobs. I didn't hear feminists in the 1800s saying, I want to go into the coal mines and get black lung, because for the longest period of human history, most jobs were extreme.
When the argument side steps equal pay, the silence speaks volumes.
Statistically, it is true that Asians, on average, make more money, better test scores, get into better colleges, all that stuff. I think the question is, why is that? And I don't know, model minority, whatever that label wants to mean.
That's actually a myth because we cannot be.
Well, no, listen. Well, let me finish my point. We need to observe what makes people successful and unsuccessful. And I think when you look at trends that are generally true in the Asian community, not of everyone, but are generally true, usually you have families that are sticking together. You have people are taught to work hard in school, not get into trouble. I think that translates to why Asians en masse are successful. And I don't think you have to be Asian or white for that matter to not have kids out of wedlock, not, commit crime, not cause trouble or whatever it is. It's just a matter of common sense. That's what makes people successful. And if that's so-called assimilation, having a nuclear family, buying a house, going to school, whatever it is, then yeah, okay, call me a pro-assimilation then.
I think there's a difference between assimilation and erasure.
Yes.
Facts dropped, woke heads spinning.
Agree with the notion that an unborn baby is a parasite?
Yes, it's a parasitic.
What class are you taking that's telling you that?
Literally pathophysiology.
Is telling you that a baby is a parasite.
It acts as a parasitic animal.
It doesn't. Do you know the definition of a parasite?
Yes, explain it to me.
What is the definition of a parasite?
A parasite is something that lives inside of a host that has to feed off of that host.
And kills it. It's not a symbiotic relationship.
Not necessarily.
Yes, that's the definition of a parasite.
Calling a baby a parasite? Bold move. Hope they're ready for biology class to clap back.
Well, saying contributes to systemic racism in this country. It means that my students of color are pulled over and accused of stealing a car when they did not.
I'm not pulling anybody over for stealing any cars. I see many people of many different races in this room. They all seem to be doing just fine. I don't think any of them have felt violence because they listened to a lecture on basic facts about our immigration system. The question was, have I asked people in this room if they've felt as though some violence has been committed on them? No, I haven't asked, because no violence has been committed on you. Because violence is not a subjective feeling. Violence is an objective fact. And I would say to you, as a faculty member at a taxpayer-funded university, this is the foundation of liberal education. If you cannot understand that there is a difference between speech and violence, you don't understand anything that undergirds the liberal arts or liberal education. And that is a real shame. If our teachers don't understand the difference between ideas and violence, between speech and violence, then they are in no position to educate the next generation of Americans.
Feelings lose their disguise when facts enter the chat.
What's your name?
None of your business, unfortunately.
Okay, hello, nice to meet you, none of your business.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So, do you love America?
Yes, I do.
I hate America. Every state in the USA should be an independent country. What do you think of this?
Well, I just first have to ask, since you hate the country, do you plan to leave?
What do you mean by that?
Do you plan to go live in another country?
No, I do not.
Let me tell you something.
Your face is an idiot.
America is the only country where even those who hate it refuse to leave. That's how you know you live in a great country.
Can you prove that? Well, thank you. May I have a hat?
No. So let me ask you, none of your business. Who do you plan to vote for?
I plan to vote for Kamala Harris.
Why?
I mean, you answered my question, so I'm done here. Like, there are people waiting.
Can you tell me her greatest accomplishment?
No, I can't.
Can you tell me a single accomplishment?
I cannot. I want to leave. Like.
Want to vote for Kamala, but can't name a single achievement? That's confidence with a plot twist.
And you know that's like an ignorant way to stand, right? Like,
why?
You're over here, I tell you.
I'm actually half handicapped, so that's very offensive that you said that.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I can probably tell
I'm
that
super
you're
offended, actually.
Yeah. So lying and being a high conflict is part of your personality disorder. Why are you looking at women with eyes?
Are you a woman?
Oh my God, so you...
Oh, I didn't even know, I'm sorry.
I'm non-binary, so it doesn't really matter.
Hey, that's why I asked. I was trying to be polite. That's what you should...
Beating woke logic at their own game. Now that's next level trolling.
I don't think you can be sexist towards men, and I don't think you can be racist towards white people.
How have you arrived at that conclusion?
That's a good question. I don't know, just hearing like all the stories about like all this messed up stuff they did in the past. Like, I'm not even black, but I have a grudge against them.
Are you referring to slavery?
Yeah, and just like the treatment of them over time since then, like all the discrimination.
Do you think that white people were the only ones who engaged in slavery?
So wait, are you trying to like say that like white people were slaves too?
Yeah, white people were also slaves.
That's where the term slave comes from, is the Slavic region.
Exactly.
That's why Eastern Europeans are so oppressed even within Europe.
I don't know, but I didn't see them oppressed over here that much. Like, I don't know. In history, I don't see books talking about the oppression of white people.
Yeah,
Why do you think
that's
that
a problem.
When facts hit harder than the woke logic, there's no safe space left to hide.
I can't work many hours because of my anxiety.
You have anxiety?
Yes, I do.
What causes anxiety for you?
Lots of things.
Like what, for an example?
Anything that doesn't agree with me, basically, or see things the way I do and see the good in things. That I just think that society is lost and just a bunch of hateful bullies.
He turned you into a woman.
I am not a woman, Jesse.
Yeah, you act like one because you're afraid. You're beta.
No, you're a beta.
No. You're a beta, Michael.
No,
beta.
You are a beta.
Beta.
I am a normal man. You're a beta man.
No, you're not normal. I could think of many words to call you. Normal is not one.
I'm putting this on the bully list.
When disagreement triggers distress, it's time to question the resilience of one's convictions.
This is a queer fat club.
I'm queer and fat.
Okay, thank you for joining. We're just introducing ourselves at the moment.
Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Joe?
Yeah, my name's Joe. I go by he, they, and I identify as 275 pounds.
Okay.
I feel like Jay's kind of making fun of me though. I know it's kind of a shock. I know, kind of a new thing.
I'm just,
Do what?
I said I apologize.
Oh no, you're good.
Are you comfortable leaving the group at the moment?
Why?
I'm not understanding why you're joining the group.
This is the queer and fat group now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I came here for.
Okay. And you said you identify as fat?
Yeah.
Okay. This is just for fat-bodied people.
Yeah, I understand. I identify as a fat-bodied person.
I'm not understanding where you're coming from.
Are you guys comfortable with me here? I mean, I'm pretty chill on my end.
I'm not comfortable, no.
Using woke logic as a weapon. Confusion level, expert unlocked.
You have a channel?
Yeah, we're doing some interviews today. Such a good vibe. Should we kill the kids in foster care?
Why not? Why not, if that's the case?
We should kill the kids in foster care that aren't wanted.
Who's gonna take care of them? I need to know the percentage of people who take children from foster care and abuse them and molest them, who make them like personal slaves.
We should just kill them.
Statistics before you come to me talking about pro-life.
We should kill the victims of molestation.
I think, what does this have to do with molestation?
You just mentioned people molesting children. We should kill the kids in foster care is what you said.
What I'm saying is in general, overall. If I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have
not. Even as teens, people explore. And it's like, as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice. I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really...
When losing the argument means taking it out on the journalist, guess facts aren't welcome here.
Choose what occurs with her body. And I don't think that it should be anybody else's decision.
So what if the body inside her body is a female?
Ultimately, the owning body is going to make the decision. And
so you believe humans can own other humans?
As a black person,
Yeah. What did you just say?
I believe that as a woman, that the bundle of cells in my stomach, prior to having actual feeling and nerve receptors.
Yeah. Okay. So when one human being, whole class of human beings, get classified as not entitled to the same rights as you don't find that problematic?
I don't find it problematic when they don't even have nerve receptors to feel or understand what's.
When do you think we get nerve receptors, by the way?
I think, honestly, once, what did they say, that 3-month mark is when, not even 3 months, it's a little bit sooner than that.
Your nervous system begins, it's there. And
Information, absolutely.
Yeah, so you have a nervous system basically there, and then it needs to develop around 9 weeks, and you just grow from 9 weeks on.
Okay.
So your nervous system does come together following the genetic program inside the womb.
So when I'm referring to receptors in a general sense, I'm referring more to, can I feel what is occurring?
Right.
Is there pain? Just like if I
Yeah, I'm following you. So if it's painful, it's wrong. Is it okay if it's not painful? Like you chloroform someone.
That's what we get.
Right.
So,
well, that's what I'm trying not to do.
I stab them in their stomach. I cannot say.
What if you gave them strong anesthesia first?
It's not my right.
They don't feel pain.
It's like your adult life.
So you believe that, so the class of human beings that you believe can be owned, oppressed, and destroyed. You said the body inside the body is your own.
I do not believe that you should.
We're both people. Let's not make it about the color of our skin.
Because there's different levels of discrimination that comes with different classes of people. So ultimately, my experience will always be different than yours. I have a uterus. You do not, that I know of. I am black.
I do not have a uterus. Okay, never mind. I changed my mind. I have a uterus. I'm a female.
So you're just self-identifying in order to be in this conversation with me?
No, I'm just saying, it's just, you said as far as I know.
Oh, because I'm trying to be as inclusive as possible in my conversation.
You 100% know I don't have a uterus.
No, I can't 100% know that. I have a little brother who's trans.
Are you at college here? Is this your college?
I'm actually a staff.
Your staff?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm staff. Yeah.
And you think that I could just have a uterus if I wanted it?
No, that's not at all what I said. I said that I cannot look at you and determine what it is that you have inside your. That's what I said.
And you got a job at a college?
To her, we guess feelings only count if they're on the outside.
Life begins when you understand living women matter more than potential babies.
What is it?
What do you mean?
If it's a potential baby, what is inside of a woman?
It's a fetus.
Is it living?
No.
How can it grow if it's not living?
Actually, that's like saying if an acorn is a tree.
When does the fetus become living?
Nope.
That's actually a good question, but that line...
Yeah, of course, because you don't know it, because it's living. It's living.
Oh, wait a second, but I got something for her.
When does this clump of cells or fetus become living?
When it can sustain its own life.
But when is that? When is the sustainability? How do you sustain life? Like, my newborns aren't sustainable. You can't just have a newborn and they just like live on their own, right?
Right.
The pro-choice argument meets common sense, and common sense seems to win every time.
Next guest, who is Shivani Dave. She is a journalist and a presenter at Virgin Radio, just down the corridor. Good afternoon to you, Shivani.
Good afternoon, Julia. You know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for telling me your pronouns. I use correct grammar. So the only thing I would need to refer you to is to your face would be you. But I'm not being rude. You can choose your pronouns. You can choose what you want to call yourself, but you don't get to require me.
Grammar won this round, but the confusion's still undefeated.
Men do not menstruate. Only women menstruate. Now, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Don't menstruate, but trans men do menstruate.
No,
Same
they
as
don't.
non-binary people.
Only women.
Menstruating is not exclusive to cis women. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So explain to me as to why my body menstruated at
If
some
your point, chromosomes are X and you're young, you menstruate. If you're X, you don't.
Correct, but what about trans men and non-binary? We're
not men.
excluding a whole group of people
They're women
that
dressed
menstruate.
as men.
Well, what's a man to you? You define a man for me.
You have chromosomes that are X, Y. That's what a man is.
So why are we just looking at the science of this as an example when we've learned gender identity are they're completely different things.
They're not completely different.
They are completely different.
Completely different words.
It's what you're born with. Reproductive organs you have. Gender is what you identify with. They're completely
Well, I don't
different
accept
things.
that distinction. You have to argue for it. You're just giving a conclusion. You're just making it up.
Menstruation debate gets a plot twist. Apparently, it's all about who's dressed as who.
Do you feel proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself? Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a
So
registered
I
voter.
vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today. Yeah? Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Then a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
Well, no, you can see. Look how popular Trump is on your campus. How does that make you feel? That's not comedy. That is a 5-alarm fire for Kamala Harris because she's probably going to lose Pennsylvania. But no, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talk?
Voter to voter. When debate turns into democracy, there's no contest.
Matter too, though, but you matter too.
We do not appreciate being filmed for this.
Oh, he's not filmed. He identifies a camera. we just kind of. I'm glad it's funny to you.
Confusing doesn't even begin to cover it.
You cannot tell me. So I have a question. And also, you're not a biologist. So I have a question. I'm 20. As a mathematician and a physicist, what in the do you know about human biology? And you got your law degree from Harvard. What do you know about biology? You got your law degree from Harvard. And frankly, I would ask another question. If your logic is so flawed as a mathematician and a physicist, I would suggest that whichever institution gave you an award, revoke it immediately.
Turns out a fancy degree doesn't automatically come with common sense. That's all for today's Woke Meltdowns. Stay tuned for more truth.